Welcome back to the IROC Business with Confidence podcast, your go-to resource for monetizing your passions while keeping your budget in mind. I'm your host, Cori Fonville Foster, transformational speaker, certified business coach, trainer, and CEO of IROC Marketable Business Solutions. In today's episode, we have an amazing guest. Please welcome Elona Lopari, known as the Business Catalyst, dedicated to helping elite business owners become game changers in their fields and achieve million-dollar breakthroughs. With a background as a former Fortune 500 executive who led record-breaking teams in over 20 locations across the U.S., Elona brings a wealth of expertise in high-level business strategy. Her programs and consulting combine billion-dollar corporate strategies with the speed and agility of the most powerful online strategies of today. Elona is the CEO of The Life School, where she empowers purpose-driven entrepreneurs and corporations with comprehensive support in branding, marketing, sales, systems, and teams. Her guidance helps clients build legacy wealth in life and business while making a massive impact and doing more good in the world. Additionally, Elona is a best-selling author of numerous books and a captivating speaker on global stages. Her passion for sharing her message with the masses is truly inspiring. Today, our discussion revolves around high-level business strategy and the vital connection between branding, marketing, and sales. Elona will unveil powerful insights on how to align these key components to achieve exceptional business growth. So we have Eleanor with us on the podcast. Now, if you were already listening, I've already given her intro, but I want to always give her opportunity to tell us a little bit about her and how she got into business. So Eleanor, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, Cori, thank you so much for having me on your show. I hope to serve your audience today with my knowledge and experience. So I got into business after I worked for a corporation, 15 years, different roles, marketing, sales, executive leadership. I grew unfulfilled. The corporation was purchased by another company, and the culture turned profit-driven versus purpose-driven. We were seen as a number. I was seen as a number, so I felt unfulfilled. So I said, I didn't know what I was going to do at that time. I was very lost. It was a moment of I didn't know anything else besides what I did for so many years. So that's where entrepreneurship showed up for me. With the practical advice of my husband, he said, you have a lot of experience. Why don't you just start your own company? Do you really want to go back, do another 9 to 5? And that seemed to be the thing that I kind of needed to hear at that time. So there we are, 6 years ahead of time. I did some executive coaching. Then I did some career coaching in my growing and journey as an entrepreneur. And as of the last couple of years, I've been positioned as a high-level business strategist because I learned throughout my experience intuitively, I'm really good at business. I love helping entrepreneurs, especially heart-led entrepreneurs just like myself, make a bigger impact and more income through the work that they are doing. So I do help them now through mindset, branding, marketing, sales, systems, and team, a foundation framework. I found a common thread between entrepreneurship and corporations.
I love that. And if you guys are listening, you see she's done a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and now she's really able to give a lot of value to her customers and her clients. So you mentioned high-level business strategy, and for new entrepreneurs that may have gone, clear over their head. So can you explain to us a little bit more? What is high-level business strategy?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's really a way to say that I meet people where they are. If they're just at the beginning of their business and the solopreneurs, I remember those days when you're wearing all the hats, cash is low, you don't have a lot of clients yet, you don't have a lot of stability with income, you don't really even know how to position yourself, you can't stand out yet, you can't talk to the gap and all that good stuff that happens at the beginning. So at those beginning phases, more foundational, it's more positioning, it's more mindset, it's more finding your ideal client, finding ways through your business model to serve them, and then just doing a whole bunch of relationship building, which is really, the heart of any business growth. But as you get more advanced, you do realize that once that foundation is in place, once you've been an entrepreneur, I would say a couple of years, or maybe the first 2 years, I would say, looking back at the work that I've also done with clients, I say the first or 2 years are the most unsteady ones, which is probably where a lot of this audience or a lot of you guys are in. And then once you start to find your footing a little bit, you start to create generate some consistent income. You have clients. Now your next immediate need becomes about how do I manage this workload and how do I still grow the business while I only still have 24 hours in my day. So that is where high level business strategy comes into play for me. So introducing people to systems they need to implement, tools they need to implement, how to now ensure that these processes that they are following can shorten the time span, their sales process, how to shorten that time span, right? How to get more people involved to work on their vision, how to do their first couple of hires. I always say we always start with a good VA, because that is always the best first hire. And as soon as you can afford it, I would say it's the best investment that you could start making beyond a business coach or a business strategist or a business consultant, because you need to know as a visionary CEO or the business owner where you want to go so that you can bring in the right people. Because a lot of times if you're missing all this information and you haven't connected the dots yet, then you could just be like me. I thought I needed advanced tools at day one or phase one or year one, and you don't always know what you need to implement because you're just gathering information from everywhere. And that's usually where the confusing parts come about. But every phase and stage, there are steps and things to do in the business, and it's predictable.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Something that I think every coach out there, every entrepreneur should know by now is that every business owner needs a coach, right? You need a coach, you need somebody to handle your finances, and somebody to keep you out of jail. That's your legal. You need those three things, and it's never too early to get that. A lot of people think they have to be at a certain point before they start investing in those things, but really, what you don't understand is if you have those things in place early, you're less likely to make a lot of the common mistakes. You're able to bypass a lot of things, right? Because you're paying for speed, you're paying for knowledge. And yes, people can go out here to YouTube University, or you can go read a book or listen to a podcast. And yes, you can get value and learn. However, you're getting pieces of the puzzle. Whereas someone like yourself or any other business coach, you're getting a strategy, you're getting a system that together can really help you reach whatever goal you're trying to accomplish. So today's topic was connecting the dots between branding, marketing, and sales. And since I know we have a lot of newbie entrepreneurs listening, can we go through real quick and kind of just break this apart? Let's start with branding. Can you tell us a little bit about what is branding, especially when it comes to a small business owner?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. So, branding is about positioning to me, starting with your clear where do you stand in the market. Sometimes you feel like a little tiny fish in the whole, the big ocean of entrepreneurship or businesses that, you are in the industry or, for. So, if you are a coach or a service provider, I would say, because that's my specialty, I work with service providers, that becomes a necessary part, how to brand yourself, how to start differentiating yourself, how to start get noticed. How do you, hello, I'm here, I can help. So how to start to get noticed, that is the beginning of everything. Positioning in the marketplace, positioning to the gap. I don't want to oversay the niche and all of that, but it's important to grab a little pocket of the market first at the beginning. It's important. It's like you're in the big ocean, so you can't tackle the whole ocean. So you just grab a little bit of something to hold on, to leverage on at the beginning, someone to help or a few people to help, and then you can always grow and expand. I'm one of the first people that I'm a big visionary person. So when you tell me to live it, it's like, oh my gosh, resistance comes up. But I would say if you're doing it for the goodness of your business and also for your own sanity, so you can focus correctly. Because at the beginning, you don't have as much leverage and resources. So you're doing it all yourself. So you need to be very focused and clear. So I would say branding is finding out your positioning and of course your messaging. Who are the people you want to help, how you help them, speak their language, not yours. I always say never fall in love with business models. You can create an offer today, a course tomorrow, a membership the other day. It doesn't matter, but you need to be very clear around the pain points of your ideal client, the results they want, their status quo. And where is it that you fit in the picture, and how is it that you are bridging the gap between where they are and where they want to go, just like we're doing now, connecting the dots. We're just doing it with branding, marketing, and sales. You should be doing that with your ideal client from the pain point that you want to solve for them. So solve one problem, one audience, one problem, get known for one thing. I always have the same advice for all beginning entrepreneurs, because you can always expand on that later. The next thing is your marketing. Once they come to you, now you got some traction, finding out Elona exists and finding out Cori exists. What is it that you can do to warm up the relationships, to build trust, to nurture people, right? So that you can build trust consistently. We all know trust is not built overnight, but you need to have a journey of where people are coming, how are they coming towards you, and how is it that you are serving them to be able to build trust with them, so they could see you as the guide. I don't say the expert, I say the guide, because I think it's important to be the guide, not so much the expert. And there's room for authority building and all of that, but I think people will relate to you much better if you are their guide in the journey. So where is it that you could serve them? Where is it they could see you consistently? Where is it that you can build trust with them? I would say that's marketing. And I talk about funnels a lot, but funnels to me is just the way people are finding you. Are they finding you from a Facebook group? Are they finding you from a networking event? Are they finding you from this podcast? Are they finding you from, maybe you gave an interview somewhere and they resonated with your message or what you had to say, right? So think of everything as journeys. I don't like using a lot of traditional marketing language because I think that's old way of doing business. So yeah, wherever they're coming to you, have that intentional stepping stones or touch points in the journey, so people can build know, like, and trust with you. So then, of course, then you can go to the sales aspect, which is where most entrepreneurs struggle with connecting the marketing to their sales, right? Because once the marketing is done correctly, and please do your marketing first, build trust first before you go into sales. We've seen many situations, you probably have the same way, where you get cold messaging on your inbox, you don't know people, and they're going straight into sales because they don't know how to connect the first two things, the branding and the marketing, which should really pave the way, so that when you do sales, it's very organic. It's about meeting you where you are. You already know about the other person, they know about you. So it just becomes a beautiful conversation around what is some of the what is the support that you are looking for, what is some of your specific goals, and let me see, if what I have is a great fit for what you are looking for at every phase and stage. So that's kind of how I would wrap up all the three main areas. And just to wrap this up, I always say be in this mindset for life, be in people's lives with your branding forever, because you don't know, they're growing with you. Right now, they might not need what you need to offer, but later on, as you grow and evolve and you have invested just like money in the bank, I look at relationships just like that. You got to deposit before you withdraw, especially if you have a service. You have to think human relationships. Just because they're not ready now does not mean that later on they might not be ready. There's so many people in my world that have been there for a couple of years, and finally, because I have done a good job branding, marketing, and doing all the right things appropriately and being authentic with what the work I do, they are now ready. 3 years, 4 years. I just signed a client that's been in my audience for 4 years, right? So you got to be in this for the long term, and that's how you build a brand. You can't just be in this for the money short term. Well, Cori can't do nothing for me now, so let me just drop her and go to the next person. We can't look at people like numbers. We have to look at people like human beings with needs, with worries, with fears. And you got to believe in the work you're doing and make it your purpose. I
Yeah.
intentionally gave some inspiration there, but it all connects. So
I love that. You dropped a lot of gems. I was sitting here thinking, I love the way you changed the wording instead of making it so almost clinical when we talk about, usually how we talk about branding and marketing and we give the way the structure is nowadays. I love how you kind of changed it to the idea of your coach or your mentor is your guide who's guiding you through the process, and how you as entrepreneur are really taking your audience on a journey, right? That's your marketing, your messaging. And I love that because that's the truth. A lot of people make it so much more complicated and more detailed, and it's like, no, are you giving them value? Are you solving their problem? Are you having some type of real organic grounded type of connection to the audience? And that's why people like you. That's why people buy. I think about all the people that I've invested in over the years, and I didn't invest in them because I liked one post that they put or one funnel I ended up in. I liked them because I saw they were consistently giving value. I could see that I was their audience. and I could see that they could help me. And so I loved some of the points you put on in that. And I love also the deposits versus the withdrawal. Yes, a lot of people are ready for the success, right? They're ready to make profits and revenue, but they aren't ready to deposit into the bank, right? Into their education, into having a coach, into their systems, into just kind of paying their dues in their industry and kind of laying that groundwork. So I thought all the things you said really just made such perfect sense and had so much clarity. So I hope the people listening are like, yeah, I get that. I get that. So let's break it down even further. I'm a new business owner. I have an idea. I'm ready to kind of put my business in place. What are some of the basic things I can do to brand my business?
Hmm. So the first thing to brand your business, I would say, is just start with making a list of people that you know, right? I always say we all know people, right? Even if you don't have a big audience, and that comes with time, even though you haven't surrounded yourself with a lot of your ideal clients first, as I spoke about at the other part. Once you have that, just make a list of people that you know, like, and trust. Once you have that clarity, do that and start connecting with them. So I would say that is the best thing that you could do, to start connecting with people that you already know, because we all have an audience. We just haven't intentionally sat down to really think about old relationships, old networks, mom's friend, neighbors, networking things we've been part of, my gym, right? Whatever, wherever you are going, your day-to-day life, make a list of people to start with. I also start my clients with this right away, to get them not only a return on investment, but when they're at the beginning of their business, also show them that they actually can serve people, because a lot of that belief at the beginning is missing, because you don't have the experience yet in serving people with what you do. So start with what you can do, as you are also building all these other things in the business as well. And that would be the first thing that I would tell people. And then the other thing is, branding is all about, again, serve, serve, serve. So see if you can bring these people towards your world. Maybe you have a Facebook group, maybe you have your Facebook, you post content that you find will be helpful for them. Maybe you can send them a video, right? Maybe you can, go on LinkedIn, depending on who your ideal client is, but go serve and intentionally start relationships. Start the process of connecting with people. Don't be afraid. I know at the beginning it's nerve-wracking. A lot of, like, I just had a client that I was helping, and she's at the beginning level, and the homework, or the to-do, was to kind of build this list that I talked about. And the immediate fear we have is the resistance over, like, oh my gosh, what am I going to say? So that's normal at the beginning, but you got to think of the service. That's why I said you got to believe in the work you do, because if you believe that what you have is going to help somebody, then think about, what is it that I can do to help them? Don't go in the call with an expectation or an agenda to turn them into your client. That's the problem that we do. We do the sales before all the marketing and the branding. So we don't want to do that. We want to go in with the intention to serve and just get to know people and see where is it that we are, where everyone is, and always think of something that you can give them. Maybe they want an introduction. Maybe you can give them a helpful resource. Maybe you can, something has helped you in the journey and you hear that they're kind of doing the same thing. Maybe send them a resource that can be helpful to them. And honestly, this doesn't have anything to do with you at the beginning, because you haven't built a body of work yet to be able to serve them with content and other things. So don't worry. Just share what you already know that you find that you feel will be helpful to them, and start start tracking those conversations, because you will forget as you talk to a lot of people. Make some notes around where is it that they're in the journey with your relationship building with you, and have some things that you are building along the way, so that you can continuously serve them a couple of times before maybe you can get them on a call, and you can see if they're a good fit for what is it that you have to offer. But I promise you that those people will be more willing if you have done this depository part at the beginning of the relationship, so they are open for what is it that you have to offer, or you can serve them at a higher level, is usually what I say. But you have to do the prep work before you do that. But I would say you don't need a big brand to do that. You don't need a big, huge, social media presence. That will come with the right mentor, the right coach. Once you understand what you want to stand for, how to position yourself, who your client is, the messaging, and all of that, that will come over time. But I would say immediately, you don't need pretty websites. I built 6 figures and up without my website is so crappy, honestly. I will invest in that next year. It was all built on this genuine relationships with people. And you don't need all of that. Sometimes we think of brand like colors, none of that. The more vulnerable you can be, the more real you can be, that's the best brand you have. So people will always buy other people. They're not going to buy your programs or your things. So connect with them in a human, genuine way, and you can just get started with your branding right away, and then move on to social media presence. But honestly, those are just ways that you can continue to nurture them. You're just doing it one to many. You make one post and more people see it. You make a video and more people see it. But that's just, again, another way to serve. So as long as your intention is clear, I think it becomes so much easier to understand why you're doing what you're doing rather than what you are hearing out there that you need to do. Because then if we don't have a buy-in personally, then it just becomes like, I don't know if I want to put my face up there on social media or do a video or whatever. I'm telling you, once you understand the purpose of why you're doing it and the impact you want to make, all of that falls and you show up for the people. You don't show up for you anymore.
I love that, the idea of putting service before sales. I think that's why so many people are nervous about sales, because they are thinking, I have to convince this person to purchase from me. But if you did the service first, then they already want to work with you. And you're just telling them how they can have an opportunity to work for you. So I think that that really helps those, especially people who are apprehensive about sales, just kind of have a different mindset around it. And like you said, giving service or giving value can come in many forms. It can be on a call, right? Coffee chat, consultation call, strategy call, but it also can be through your post on social media. It can be through seeing a podcast. It can be through a blog article. It's just you showing up as you authentically and giving the value and giving the advice and the tips and the strategies that someone can possibly be able to use. And if you're talking to your target audience or your people, your tribe, then that's a great way to nurture that audience. And then when it is time to make the sale or to get them to sign on the dotted line, they're ready to go. So let's talk a little bit more about the sale. Okay. As a new entrepreneur, I think a lot of people spend so much time on low ticket items, right? They're trying to, I call it peddle your wares. They're trying to find a whole bunch of people to buy a $5 item. What is your recommendation? Where should we be spending most of our time? Should we do high ticket, mid tier, low ticket? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I love that question because I also feel like a lot of people don't have the right direction. And I was one of them at the beginning thinking, that I need to do a one-to-many business model because I was following mentors that have been in this journey for years and they had an audience, right? When you already build a brand, it's easier, right? To sell low ticket to volume, high volume, right? So you either can have a low volume, low ticket offer for a high volume audience or a high ticket offer for a low volume audience, which will be our case at the beginning, right? Because I remember we start with the people that we know. So I always say that the best way to start is to package your knowledge and expertise into something that you can offer people one-to-one. Not only will you learn so much from that experience, but you also will put your time into the best possible spot that you can and start creating some really good income for you at the beginning, because you don't need a lot of clients to be able to make decent money based on your financial goals for the month. So I would say when you start out, always offer your time, because again, people will always pay more for your one-to-one time because you're able to create better results. You are there. You can answer their questions. You can personalize what you're teaching them. So of course, that is going to give them ROI. And it's also win-win for you because you now have some steady income that is coming in, steady good income, while you're also building all the other components of your business. So I'm a big proponent of starting. You can start mid-ticket, high-ticket. I mean, depending on, I would always crunch the numbers, see what is it that you are specifically looking for to bring in a month, and what is that valuable thing that you offer. I don't create anything for the money. I create it first. I put my program together, and I know that this program will give people a lot of value. And then it's so much easier to focus yourself because you only have one offer, one high quality client, and you can market that so much easier than trying to market a million different tiny offers, and people are just confused because each offer, $1,000 or $2,000 offer would take the same amount of energy as $100 offer. So where do you want to put your time and energy at the beginning is definitely in the higher quality offer, because of the transformation that you can provide is much higher. And then later on, you have options. Once you have that base, you are phased out one to one. You can go to groups, to hybrid. There's so many business models you can go into, whatever makes sense for you at that phase and stage. But I would say at the beginning, definitely focus your time on providing results and being able to articulate the messaging around the offer that you are able to provide for people, because people will buy the solution to their problem. They don't even care how long your offer is. They don't care about the process. That's your expertise. They want the result. So you always have to think about, how can I provide this result in a great amount of time? And then once they achieve that result, then intuitively think of the next thing that you can provide for people to give them even better results. Because I always say, once you build trust with them and you are really good at what you do and you improve over time, then you always can get bigger ahas for people, and people want to continue, because then you're just like, okay, I achieved that. So now what else is that I can get, right? So, have intuitive offers as you grow. But I'd say at the beginning, definitely one-to-one. Don't focus on courses. Don't focus on $10 items, $100 items, because it's like a store. When you go into a store, how many more people do you need to sell a $10, I don't know, puppy pad, or like a $2,000, I don't know why I thought of pets, but another item, right? It will take the same amount of money, and you're the only person doing it. You're the only salesperson in the business at that time. So focus your time where it's worth it.
Definitely. I 100% agree. I think so many people, like you said, want to have the whole store full of different options. What if they say no to this? What if they say no to that? But what if you confuse your audience, or they know that you have smaller projects and things they can get until they say, okay, well, I want that small thing. I want that book that's $20 versus that one-on-one coaching or consulting package. So you do have to think about that. So I think people who are listening are definitely understanding, okay, I need to have the brand. I get it. I don't have to have the website and things. I just need to be clear about who I want to serve and how. They understand that they need to have service before they try to sell. But I think something that they may be missing is, how do they find their target audience? Like, they know who they are, but where did they find them? So do you have any tips or strategies that you tell to your coaching clients on how to locate and engage with their target audience?
Yeah, absolutely. I say you can find the world on social media. I mean, everyone's on social media. So once you identify clearly who is your target person that you want to help, then go where is it they're already hanging out? Are they on Facebook? Are they on Facebook groups? Are they on LinkedIn? If you're going for more of a professional, type of avatar or person that you're looking for, are they on Instagram? Are they on TikTok? Right? So find them in the platforms that they are already using and go meet them there. I would say there's a lot of value now that the world has opened up to live networking events, right? So if your ideal audience is hanging out in an organization or in a networking event, I would say that's the best way that's how I started. I didn't know about social media for a couple of years. So, I did more belly to belly, person to person, one person building a relationship with another. But once I knew, that, let's say, entrepreneurs, for me, service-based are my audience, then I know exactly what events to go to, where is it they're going, how is it that I can put myself in those rooms that they're already hanging out with. And at the beginning, that's going to be golden for you, because the more you can hear it from their mouth, what is how they describe their things, their pain points, all of that good stuff, the more clarity you'll have in your messaging. Because sometimes at the beginning, when you don't have clients, you go with your messaging on a vacuum, like you think that those are the things that they want, but it's not. Marketing, and Cori, I know you can agree with me, is all about giving people what they want so you can show them what they need inside your offers. All right. And a lot of times I also had a lot of, challenges with, I was giving them what I thought they needed, but that's not what they wanted. They're not going to invest in that. So you have to just get them in the door in a good way, give them what they want so that you could show them what they really need. And then once they know, they could see it, that's where they're going to get the results. But I would say that, yeah, you can find the world of social media between all these, platforms. But I would say the beginning, focus on 1 to 2, just like with an ideal audience, focus on 1 to 2, really build good momentum on there. Because there's plenty of people that you can connect with. There's no shortage of people. But yeah, that's what I would say. They're everywhere. You just have to know where to look.
I love that. I think people, like I said, they make it too hard. They make it too complicated. And it's like when you start, you just have to start. You just have to tell people what you do. I always tell people about my story of how I started my business. I sent out Facebook messages to my friends, and it's like, hey, this is what I do. If you need this, let me know. If you know somebody who needs this, let me know. And I got 3 clients from there. Like you said, no website, no social media, no nothing. I think people are trying to have all these other pieces in place. Thousands of people following them on social media, 10,000, email lists, all these things to sell a $5 item. It's like, no, you're doing it wrong. You can build all that other things with the money from those first few clients. So you should start there. So again, we have a lot of new business owners up here. So what is the one thing you would tell them to avoid when they're thinking about their branding, marketing, and sales? Because I know you see it time and time again. What's the one thing that people do that you're like, please do not do this when they're starting their business?
First is what you said, compare themselves to someone that's been in the journey longer. That's all they have. More experience, and more experience breeds more actions, breeds the results you're probably seeing. More followers, bigger audience, maybe their brand is a little more polished because they've just been in the journey longer. So do not compare. I would say that would be my first advice to people. And then the other thing that I would think that they need to avoid is distraction. Stay focused. Distraction is the killer productivity. It is so you almost have to discipline yourself to cut out all the noise. Just like I say, 1-1-1, remember all the ones at the beginning. 1 mentor, 1 audience, 1 offer, 1 platform. You have to stay very focused, because that will keep you so focused, and it will keep your energy put in the right thing so that you can start to build some momentum. At the beginning, I think that those will be 2 things. So do not compare people that have been in the journey further along. They just have more experience. That's all. They're not smarter, or they don't have anything more than you do, intellectual wise or gift wise or whatever, right? It's just experience. I mean, experience obviously dictates that you have built some things along the way if you've been doing it longer. I mean, it's just the way life works. But don't do any comparison. Stay in your journey, stay in your lane, and avoid distraction, and get 1 mentor to focus you. That is going to be crucial. I see so many entrepreneurs. One day they're doing this thing, then another day they're doing another thing. It's like, having babies. When you're like, you haven't even figured out how to parent 1 child yet, then you want to have 2 businesses, 3 businesses, 4. Like, don't do that. You can do it later. No one's going to stop this journey of entrepreneurship, which is why I love it, but also why I hate it in a good way, because there's no limit to this. You can build as much as you want. But the other problem is that because there's so many options and opportunities, people just like, well, maybe I could just do that. Maybe I start that. So they're never putting in enough energy into one thing to grow that baby up to toddler. Because I say business stages like life stages. First, you're an infant, then you go to toddler, then you become preteen, then you become a teenager, then you mature. It's like the cycles of life. But you have to give your thing enough time and consistency so that you know what's working or not, and not just change lanes very, very often and have just businesses just like accolades or like vanity metrics. Hey, I have 3 businesses and I'm year 1, but I have no clients or income. Like, why do we need that? I'd rather have 1 business, a couple of clients that are really, I'm serving them at a high level and I have a steady income as I keep building, than just be able to say that I am a business owner to multiple businesses that are not healthy. Business, just like life, you can have a lot. I mean, I work with corporations. You think they have big brands, they're making a lot of money, they're making a lot of profit. They're not, right? They're not healthy inside of the business because they're not generating revenue. You can have sales, but you can have just as much debt and expenses, just like personal life. That's not what you want. You want a healthy business, one that first of all supports you and your values and your goals. I would say that's number one. Otherwise, this is just too hard of a journey if you're going to sacrifice yourself through it. That would be number one. And then the second one is healthy generation of revenue in the business. You don't need a million clients. I built my business to 7 figures with 100 loyal fans of 100 clients. I just stayed very focused, thanks to my mentor, because of course you don't know what you don't know at the beginning. So I'm like, oh, maybe I need that. Maybe I need that. Maybe like, what is that fear of missing out? That's a real fear. So you're not missing anything. It will come to you. You have to almost be a little spiritual as well. You're not missing anything. Whatever's right for you will show up for you. You just stay in your lane.
Yes, I always tell people what's for you is for you. People are always have FOMO, that fear of missing out. That's what you were saying. They're just sitting here like, but what if this and what if that? And I also love that you said to stick with one mentor, one coach, like one system, because people will do some type of system or get in a program, do what that person says for a couple of days and then switch and say, it didn't work for me. You didn't stay the course. You have to, many programs work, lots of programs work, but you have to find the program that works for you and then be consistent in it and give it time to actually work out. And so if you do go with the coach, make sure that coach is going to be able to support you in the stage you are in your journey. Some coaches are for new entrepreneurs. Some coaches are for entrepreneurs that are ready to scale. Some are ready for ones that are trying to get the $1 million mark, etc. So find a coach that resonates with you. Find one that's going to help you in the stage you're in the situation that you're in, and then make sure you stay the course so that you can see the results. And when you have your own clients, because most of our audience are coaches and consultants, when you have your own audience, do the same. Remind them, hey, this takes time. Doing business takes time, right? A lot of people are thinking they're going to be millionaires next week. I don't know about you, but I get people on a call and they're saying, well, I want to have 10K next month. I'm saying, cool. How much did you make this month? Nothing. Okay. We're going to jump from 0 to 10K.
Let's do some magic.
Exactly. And it's not to be disheartening to you guys, because sometimes, yes, it can happen, but there are things like it has to be momentum. You have to start doing the work, showing proof in the system, and then you see the results. And so I think we just have to be realistic, because yes, we can have success. We can hit our revenue goals. We can hit our profit goals, but we definitely have to stay the course. So before we go, I definitely want to let our speaker give us any last tips, and definitely let us know how if people are listening and they said, I want to get to know her, she seems to know the answer, she has this strategy that I need to implement, let them know how they can reach you as well.
Well, thank you so much, Cori. I think what you said is really important. I love you also giving the message of long-term transformation. You are transforming. I always say, you think you're building the business. I'm telling you, the business is building you. So if you make it a priority and an important value that you grow through the journey yourself, you're not going to look for quick results, because you know that you need enough repetition and experience so that you can make new habits, have new awareness in the business, so that you have this discipline that you need to instill. Because I also agree that it's not, there's systems out there, there's formulas, there's proven frameworks, there's coaches, there's different ways to build a business. This world is as complex as it is simple, right? It has its fundamentals. It's both an art and a science. But of course, you will need to do that for yourself. But whatever you have done, just know that there's no quick results, because you need to transform through the process. So if you have a legacy mindset that your business is there to serve others and it's going to be your purpose, so the work you do is going to be your legacy, the work that you leave behind, then that's going to help you to stay very connected to your why and your vision of why you want to do it, right? I always say, if your why does not make you cry, get a new why, because in this journey, you have to put yourself through the process many times of personal growth so that your business growth is just almost like connected. I mean, there's no business growth unless you personally grow. So that's why I figured out very early on, I said, I'm going to make my personal growth a very important value for me, and just use the channel of entrepreneurship to back that up. And then the more I grow, the more the business grows. So you're always connected with the business. There's going to be, a lot of times that you're going to overcome fears. There's going to be a lot of times when you are at the beginning, especially because you don't see results, you want to quit. It's very normal. I wanted to go back to my 9 to 5. I don't know how many times I can't count because it was hard at the beginning. But that is just a cycle of change. We all have to go through the same thing. That's why I say find a mentor. One voice in your head is really important to keep you sane at those beginnings, because they've been there, they're done that, right? So it's so much easier to just give you the certainty that you are looking for, because you haven't built that certainty for yourself. And we all know, to build a life that we really, it's amazing and we're achieving the things that we want to do, none of that is ever going to be on your comfort zone. Nothing. Because if we continue to do the same results and take the same actions, we're going to get the same results. We have to move beyond our comfort zone. Mentors definitely help. Stay very focused, believe in what you do, and just every day wake up to and be very loyal towards continuous improvement. That's another mindset needed as an entrepreneur. As long as every day you are making small improvements in your day-to-day, you're heading in the right direction. Don't be a perfectionist. There's days when you're not going to achieve all the things that you want to do, but just move on, learn from that experience, and just do it better the next day. That's all you can do.
I love that. And if people want to know a little bit more about you, how do they find you?
Absolutely. So they can find me on my website, elonaloparicoaching.com, or on Facebook, Life School. It's my Facebook group name.
Yes, definitely. So if you are looking to connect, it will be in the show notes, but I also have it on the screen. She has an amazing Facebook community. Along with, you can definitely get in contact with her through her website as well. I want to thank you so much for being a part of our podcast. I know even for me, even though we've talked before, I still always learn something new when we talk with each other. So I'm sure the audience also got massive value from our talk today. Guys, the conversation doesn't have to end here. We will be doing a podcast episode every single week with another amazing guest. So please stay tuned, and we will see you in the next podcast. Thank you all for listening.